Hi guys, welcome back to another very exciting episode of Future Sound Media. And today we have none other than Suraj Jagan on the show. Nothing to, no introduction for this man. Been kind of, scheduling this for quite a long time. And finally we have him on the show. So let me quickly bring him in. Hi Suraj, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. How's
Good
everyone
to good.
doing?
Good, good, good. Hopefully, everyone's doing good. I'm also doing
Yeah.
good. Thanks. So, been kind of planning this for a long time, been thinking about this for a long time, and this finally is happening. And I'm very grateful that you have taken out your time to kind of come on the show. And guys, Suraj is right now located in Goa. He is shifted in Goa, and that's super cool, man. I know all the cool people I know are in Goa. That's the thing. They have somehow there's something about Goa that cool people stay there. That is what I think, and we'll know more about it. His whole journey, and I do. Suraj, just an FYI, I will sometimes look into my phone. Phone basically, which is obviously in the
Hmm.
sleep mode, but I do have a lot of notes that I have from there. I will some time in time I'll kind of check it out and kind of ask you.
No problem.
Okay, so I will start. I'll not beat around the bush. I will start. I know you have done a lot of interviews and you've got asked this multiple times, but just for
Hmm.
the sake of this interview, wanted to ask you, how did you start your music? If we can get back to that.
Um, it was basically as something that I really didn't plan to. I mean, I was always a very shy and timid kid, and never really sang in front of anyone, and never performed anywhere. I mean, not even at home. I could never perform. If I had to sing in front of five people, I wouldn't. I would, try and make some excuse uh, as to not to do it, and that's how I was. Uh, but there was a time when, towards the end of my college days, I was trying to learn guitar from this friend of mine, and he happened to have a band. And one day we were just sitting outside a church, and the whole his whole band was there, and I was with him. And we were sitting outside the church, and the mass had just finished, and there was one girl that I liked who passed by, and I started singing to her. And that's when these guys in the band heard me singing, and they said, like, man, this guy can sing. Why didn't you come and sing backing vocals with us? Because they already had a singer. And
Okay.
so the first time I ever actually sang on a mic was at a practice pad with a rock band. And
Okay.
yeah, and that experience for me was just the feeling of just singing in a band. I had never felt anything like that ever before in my whole life, So uh, I said, like, man, I don't want to lose this feeling. This is what I want to do, And that's how the whole thing started. And I actually ended up being the lead singer of that band because they kept asking me to sing. I mean, just get more and more songs for the practice. So I just kept on getting songs that I liked, and uh, the main singer, I think he sang like two, three songs, and he was also a violinist, so he was doing that also. But I ended up so my first time singing in front of people was at a rock show. So that's how my the I got the bug from there, and uh, ever since, I mean, I just wanted to. My whole thing was I just wanted to be in a band. I mean, everything else just was a series of events that happened because I got into a rock band, and so they're like I never really considered myself qualified enough to be a playback singer because I'm untrained. I'm not really. trained in any form of. I mean, I've taken some lessons here and there. Uh, Once I started recording and things like that, I tried to do some Indian classical a little bit and all that, but not really trained in anything. Um, so uh, because of the like when I got my own band, the shows that we used to do. Uh, uh, so I started out before Pentagram, that is Vishal's band.
Okay.
When they came into the scene, when Vishal uh, got into Hindi films and stuff like that, for his first movie, he called me to sing a song in his first movie, Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi. And I was one of the voices. There were three people singing. One was him. I think the third guy was Shan, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. And one was me. And it was a song called Hum Naujawan Hai. That was my first playback experience. And I still didn't really pursue it. I also started getting jingles because of um there was this guy called Rupert Fernandez who composed "You and I in This Beautiful World,"
The
the
Hutch
Hajj jingle.
jingle. Right.
Yeah, so he was part of another band, and we used to play shows together. So that's how my whole thing started. Just because I knew these people from various other rock bands, uh, uh, they started calling me, and initially I used to refuse doing jingles and things like that. For the longest time, I really didn't want to get into that space. I just wanted to be in a rock band. But then I got broke and stuff like that, and so I had to just do whatever came my way, and that's how I got into jingles, and through jingles, and then films also happened. So that none of this was really something that I had even dreamt of or planned or anything like that. I'm still the guy who likes to be in a rock band. I mean, I like this whole solo thing and everything is all fine, but for me, it's I like being part of a rock band. That's what excites me the most. I still love that guitar sound, the drum sound. I mean, the rock sound. I mean, I can't help myself. I mean, I love that sound. All my
Okay.
musician friends like so-called progressed into jazz and fusion and all those kind of things. But I like it's not that I don't like those kind of. I like listening to stuff, but when it comes to performing, I still like the rock sound.
Okay. Okay. And Suraj also, if recently, for Hunter, you turned music director too, right?
Not really. I mean, that it was just these guys who had met when I went to
Mm-hmm.
do some recording. It
Mm-hmm.
was Tuhin and Somraj. These are the two guys who are
Okay.
responsible for. Even though I tried to get their name onto the credits, but uh, they gave me all the credit for
Okay.
as a music director. I was instrumental in the direction of how I wanted the songs to go,
Mm-hmm.
but not the entire arrangement and things like that. It was mainly Tuhin who's the musician.
Okay.
He's the guy who's done all those. Not all of them, not all of the songs in Hunter. There's also Chandresh Kudwa, who's a guitar player who I had a band with called Dream
Dream
Out
out,
Loud.
dream out loud.
Yeah.
Right.
So Chandresh has he did my solo album cover album for Saregama called Back to My Future.
Right.
So we worked on that together. But the thing is, see, I'm not a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you tell me to play, I mean, I know a few chords on the guitar, but other than that, the major work of arranging and the musicianship has been done on that album by Chandresh. And on the other songs, there are a few other songs like the Mukesh songs. किसी की मुस्कुराहटें and आवारा हूँ. Those are all done
Mm-hmm.
by Tuven and
Oh,
Somraj. They go as Raz and Rio. That's how they go under the name of Raz and Rio.
okay.
But it's mainly Tuhin who's the musician who basically came up with the arrangements and things like that. I just gave the idea of this is how I wanted the things to go and how I wanted the songs to sound like and things like so. I can't call myself a music director in that sense.
Okay, fair enough. I was super excited when I saw that tag. I thought, oh man, Suraj is getting in this direction. So what will happen? But I'm sure there's a part of you somewhere. But I'll ask you something. Since you brought out Chandresh and Dream Out Loud, let's kind of wind back. Long, long,
Mm,
long time back. Uh, the songs that you guys had done at that point of time. It's raining now.
right.
The human race, the videos,
Yeah.
man, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy stuff. So if you could talk a bit about that, specifically human race, like it reminds me of Marlin Manson, kind of. And
Yeah.
at that point of time producing something like that, and the kind of stuff that you were doing, I think the only other band I would say would be Ram Sampa's Colorblind, whom I've seen that kind of production
Right.
quality, to be very
Yeah.
precise. So if
Yeah.
we could kind of talk about a bit of Dream Out Loud days from your end. Yeah.
So Dream Out Loud was a band that I formed with Chandresh, and
Yeah.
the whole album was just done by just the two of us. I mean, mainly Chandresh, who was doing everything, and
Hmm.
but we used to write songs together. We used to sit and come up with ideas together, and
Hmm.
then the rest of it, like for instance, drum parts and bass parts and all. I have no say in all those things. Like I can
Okay.
I can come up with riffs, uh, you know, uh, just like singing riffs, like that, like try this, whatever, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So uh, uh, so uh, so those songs. Our whole idea in those days was not to play covers at all. So we wanted to put out, and those are the days of CDs were still going around on those days. CDs were not obsolete yet.
Yeah.
So we did the entire thing ourselves, and we made CDs, and we then we started. We got I don't know if you know Lindsay and Naresh Kamath. Uh,
Naresh Kamath. Yeah.
yeah, so Lindsay DeMello, Naresh Kamath, they were the first guys who played our first show when we played in this place called Zenzi in Bombay.
Okay.
And we had carried these two boxes of CDs, and it all sold out. So so it was amazing for us, that happened. And
Cool.
this was before the videos. So then
Huh.
so uh, so you worked in MTV, right?
I was in
No, no,
MTV.
you were the rock on part of it
Rock
later. Right?
on.
That was
Yeah.
much later, yeah. So anyway, uh, David Polycarp, who used to be, he was also part of MTV and stuff like that. He's the
Hmm.
director who did those two videos.
Okay.
So, uh, so when I went, I approached him to do the videos. His only condition was, you give me the album, let me choose the song,
Okay.
and I will shoot I mean, I'll come up with a concept. I'll run it by you. If you're okay with it, we'll go ahead. So
Okay.
the thing is, why? Because he was doing it on a very low budget. So,
Okay.
and I trusted him as a video director. I like it. I liked his
Yeah.
work and stuff like that. Uh, so it's not Human Race. Human Race was the name of the album. Human Beings was the name of the
Human beings. Yeah, I talked about it.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Human beings. Right. Right.
Yeah, Human Beings was the name of the video.
Video.
So he came up with this concept, and we went to his house, and he narrated the whole thing, and he said like, "Yeah, man, let's go ahead." So he booked one place, uh, a burnt out studio, which is unused place. So
Okay.
this was it was so low budget. So everything had to be done with what was available. So uh, he just made it look good. The thing is, it looks like a high budget video, but it was not. It was it's just that the way he lit the place, and the way the background, there was a wall that was actually burned, but the thing is, it looks like we made that thing to look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he interpreted the whole song was pretty close to what I was trying to say in the lyrics. but the visuals, the way he imagined it, I would have
Yeah.
never thought of it. It was like quite hardcore. While we were shooting, I was like, man, I'm talking about the same thing in the song, and you're actually doing
Yeah.
it in the shoot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so and the other song was, so we had planned to do only this one video. Human beings was the thing.
Yeah.
So we went there, and we were there in the morning, and they were setting up the place, which was on the ground floor, and there was this loft on top. And he said, like, man, let's just go upstairs, and while they're setting up, let's shoot this other video. So that other video, it's raining now, was not even planned. I mean, I don't know
Oh,
whether he had it in his mind.
okay.
So he just said, like, you let's go upstairs, and uh, it was just a loft upstairs, and he just did that video over there. And that video is the one that got really popular. We got a lot of airplay on VH1.
Yeah.
uh, and they said, like, they can't really play this video on the regular timing because it is too dark, human beings. So it's raining now got a lot of airplay. So human beings, the video that we actually went to shoot, got less airplay, and it was shown late night or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's my life, man. It's weird things keep happening.
Yeah, because I think, as I was saying, that it has this Marlon Mansion, and even a lot of, if I'm sure you've seen the Nine Inch Nails music
Yeah,
videos.
yeah,
It
yeah.
completely resonates that. So I'm sure, like, as a broadcaster, why they would not show it
Right. Yeah,
to kids at that point of time who
yeah.
might, like, suddenly, but great stuff at that point of time. Like, I was just going through. I had a Suraj Jagan binge, to be very honest, this last week. I
Acha.
was like completely talking about Suraj Jagan binge. We will obviously come to playback, that stuff. To anyways, everyone knows. We'll I want to know more about the other side of Suraj Jagan, and that's the idea about this. So I will refer to this, the TED talk that you did. Right,
Hmm.
I'm sure your fans know, have seen it. And there, we have seen in, in your videos and in your performances, a different kind of a person coming on, kind of that aggressive rock vocalist, kind of doing his thing and coming on. But your TED talk was something very eye opener for
Hmm.
a fan, like me. Like, when I saw it, you went into very in depth about your
Hmm.
personal life, and I'm sure you did it to kind of motivate other people, kind of do that. And I really feel that it takes a lot of what should I say, courage to kind of go there and open up yourself in front of so many people. So if I could, and it's completely up to you if you want to have this discussion going, or we can go in different way. But
Hmm.
if I could, or if I may ask you, if we could understand that, mm, the part you had mentioned in your TED talks regarding,
Hmm.
your childhood. You were from Kerala, then you had changed 9 schools.
Right.
Then you were in Bombay, went to your
Yeah.
grandparents' place. All
Yeah.
that journey in a nutshell, and how that shaped you. You also talked about the kind of change of first sadness into hate, and then you kind of coming out, as in, hate really does not work.
Right.
Yeah, so if you could just give a bit of gist of that part of your growing up years, which
Hmm.
later kind of helped into your music and your, I would, if I may say, your philosophy of life, which I think you kind of resonate a lot of positivity, to be very honest. When I'm kind of talking with you, I feel that. So if you
Hmm.
could kind of
Hmm.
enumerate a bit about that journey, in your from your
My
childhood.
God, how long do you have, man? We can talk for hours like this.
You go on. No issues, but in a nutshell, if you could enumerate a bit, because I'm sure my viewers and listeners of the podcast would really be inspired or helped from knowing about your journey. It was very inspirational, to be very honest. So
So the thing is, like, the in a nutshell, the thing what I was trying to say is like, um, I mean, there are circumstances that happen to everyone. So mine was the sadness came from the uh, from not being able to live where I wanted to live. Like I never had a sense of home throughout my life uh, till I actually started staying on my own. I never really had a sense of home, and that's where that whole sadness comes in. I mean, there are a lot of things I was missing, my brother and my mother and everything and all that, and plus I never really wanted to leave Kerala. I mean, like that, I love that place. Um, the reason why I'm in Goa, by the way, is because it reminds me of Kerala. So uh,
Okay.
yeah, and I can't really go back there because it's it's a it's a it's a bit too conservative for me. Um, but Kerala gives me that. I mean, sorry, the Goa gives me the right balance of the place looks like Kerala, but the
Mm-hmm.
mindset is not as conservative. It's much more open, and people just let you be who you like, whoever you want to be. Like so yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that happen, changing schools and being bullied and uh, all those kinds of trying to adjust. And since I was a very timid kind of guy, I didn't make friends. I was socially awkward. Uh, so all that there was a lot of like a real. Uh, uh, I was so sad that I used to feel tired. It was like that. I mean, much later I realized that I was extremely depressed throughout my life. So that is one of those and uh, I must have been depressed to actually physically feel tired throughout. Like I couldn't really play much. I was not sleeping well. So this is how I grew up, and there was something that happened which uh, actually changed that into. It was just one incident that happened which changed that whole sadness into anger, and that felt much better than being sad. It was kind of empowering. Once I said, like, man, to hell with all of you. I'm going to do what I want from now on. And I'm guessing that's where my singing also, I rock singing is very natural for me. So I don't really have to make an effort to sing like that. So I'm guessing it's coming from there because there was a lot of pent up stuff. So I just scream it out. So that comes in the form of uh, when I'm singing in a rock band, and that gives me an opportunity for that release. Makes me feel really good. So uh, so yeah, I mean that's putting it in a nutshell, I guess. I mean, like that, going through 9 schools and all that. So I mean, I don't want to really go into details because there are too many stories, man.
Okay. Okay. But it again, as I said, thanks for kind of sharing this, and that's a beautiful kind of talk. It's very inspirational. So talking about inspiration, let me ask you, like, are you spiritual? Do you follow any philosophy or anything? What's your life's philosophy? How do you kind of go about this?
Um, yeah, I mean, I do in the sense like uh, when you kind of grew up on your own,
Mm-hmm.
when you really don't know, it's like you don't have your family to talk to, and you don't have that much of connections with any friends. That's how I've grown up. So uh, my thing was like, whatever God was, it was like a friend to me, kind of thing. So I used to kind of pray uh, uh, in that sense, like, talk more than pray.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
was my childhood. And I'd seen some few things happening where, uh, some kid got hurt, and I felt really bad for that kid, and I prayed, and then next time I met, you know, it was totally healed and stuff like that. So I
Okay.
mean, I don't know whether it was my prayers or it just healed, So,
Hmm.
but for me at that time, it was like, oh man, God is listening to me, that kind of thing. So that then progressed into I studied Buddhism for a while,
Okay.
and yeah, and so there is this one saying which really blew my mind when I read it for the first time, that yourself and your environment is the same thing. And before that, I had not really, I guess I was inclined that way, but I'd never really
Hmm.
studied anything in detail or anything like that. So this one line, your self and your environment is the same thing, even though intellectually I probably didn't really understand it, but it struck a chord much deeper than my mind, my intellect.
Hmm.
It just made sense. It felt like the truth, you know. And I took that and kept, from then on, I started kind of experimenting and seeing like how, whether it's actually a mirror, your what who you are being inside is what's reflecting outside, and things like that. That's been an experiment that's been going on for a long time now. And
Hmm.
it's not easy, because the thing is, like, you get pulled into what's happening to you,
Hmm.
and it's easier to blame so that you don't take the responsibility. So it's sometimes, and it's also because of the conditioning and things like that through the years. uh, the immediate response is to blame, uh, and that's it. It mainly comes because of the emotions that are involved at that moment. But then when you actually reflect, you see, like, it's got something to do with what's happening uh, within you. The reason why, uh, if you really dig in deep, you see it. Like where the connections are, where you can join the dots and see why this is happening. Any condition in life, why it's happening, you'll see that. Uh, and it's not a blame thing. It's not like, uh, that karma thing is, it's for me, it's a dangerous word, because
Hmm.
it kind of makes make people feel guilty. Maybe I've done, or sometimes they resign to their fate, so called. That maybe I must have done something in my previous life. And who the hell knows what you've done, whether there was a previous life? You don't know, but you know what's happening to you right now. So that's the only thing you can take care of. And the rest of it is just, and you can experiment and experience things to know the, uh, uh, the to kind of get to know the so-called unknown. You can It comes only through experimenting, because otherwise you're just reading a lot of stuff, and you're just believing in a lot of stuff. uh, you can believe in whatever you want. I mean, that there is a god, there is this, there is that, hell, heaven, all those things, but who the hell knows? Like, nobody knows for sure. But you can experience things, and you can know for your, like, what's happening with you,
Hmm.
by taking whatever teachings from wherever. And when you experiment with yourself, and for that, you got to be really true and brutally honest with yourself. Otherwise, you
Hmm.
can't do it. You can't really fool yourself to being a, and that whole thing about being a good person, again, another problem. uh, you know People always want to be a good person. There is no good person. Everybody's got something or the other. And when you try to be a so-called good person all the time, that's when you're suppressing things, and you're not letting out uh, you know uh, the so-called darker sides of your personality. Like, that's why I like rock so much, because uh, it is a very beautiful way to bring out those aggressive uh, tendencies, which might go and into things where you might go and bash up somebody, or break somebody or something like that, or ruin somebody's life by saying things and things like that. It's all coming out on stage in the form of music. So it,
Mhm.
you know, uh, I find that like for people like me, it's a great release, and it doesn't harm anybody, and it's a great release as far as I can see, even for the audience who are there are many people who are going through all those things, and they also come there and just it's like, I know when I was an audience guy, when I was part of how much those bands did for me, like it took, like for those moments, it took out all those sad things from me, you know it took out all my anger from me. I could scream and like do all that to the bands, and uh, it was a great cathartic experience,
That
being at a rock show, and that's something people, I think the people who don't like rock don't understand that, that what's happening over there, it's all that aggression which would be uh, channelized in various wrong ways is being channelized through music. Whether you like the music or not, that's a different thing. You don't have to go for a rock concert if you don't like the music. That's okay. But don't just condemn rock music saying that it's bad and it's influencing people in a bad way. I don't think it influences people in a bad way at all, because it's like it's a release, as far as I can see it. Yeah, both for
right.
the band uh, and the
Audience
audience. Yeah,
itself, because
yeah.
obviously, because the world is not a perfect place. There's so many things happening in the world, good and bad together, and we get to experience that. And obviously it's better not to have a gun and kill someone, rather take the microphone or the guitar and then kind of
Exactly. Yeah.
that
Like,
that
I mean, as cliched as it sounds, but uh, this it's this form of music that has actually saved my life. I mean, I don't know whether I would have lived as long as I've lived if it wasn't for this music. It's that important for me. It's a very cliched statement. It's been said by many people, but I know for a fact that's it has done that for me, and it has become cliched because a lot of people have been saved by that. They have the same sentiment towards this form of music, because it's pulled people from the depths of hell, and put them in a place where they could lead a normal life. That's what that music has done for a whole lot of people. That's why that statement has become cliched now, because a lot of people say it, a lot of musicians say it.
Yeah, and I will come to my next question, but before that, I would want to get some clarity on what we talked. So you said that you prayed, and then we talked about, by the way, I myself follow Zen, so we can talk
Mm,
on Buddhism for hours and hours, but I'm not going to get
mm,
on that. But you
mm,
said you prayed, and then you later stated regarding who knows that if there's a hell or heaven. And so wanted
mm.
a clarification: do you believe in God? Do you pray still now, or it was some time back you used to pray? Just if you would, if you don't want to say, that's okay too.
See, the thing is, like, what I at this point in my life, I've come to a point where that whole external part of it, like me here being here and God being somewhere, and all those things have gone. Uh, and it's come to a point where I feel so. A lot of religions talk about, when they talk about God, God is everywhere,
Mhm.
right? That's a very common statement that most, I guess, I'm not very sure about all religions, but like I've heard this when I was a kid, like God is everywhere, right?
Mhm.
So if God is everywhere, then why do you think that he's not, he, it, whatever you call it, is not in you. I mean, the same God that you're talking about. You're saying everywhere, but you are separate, and you are, so you better behave.
Hmm.
So that kind of, these kind of things like are the things which uh, for me, it was not really making sense. So the thing is, like, I've come to a point where, like, I feel there is some kind of intelligence for sure.
Hmm.
you know so now, uh, uh, like, our body is the way it works. you know we
Hmm.
take credit for a lot of things. Our ego takes credit for a lot of things. But the thing is, like, half of this, like more, not even half, like, it's most of the things that are happening within the body is happening on its own. We're not doing
Okay.
anything. So, like, what is making all these things happen? Like, the precision of the organs working together and all those things, like, and then you look out into nature, you start seeing trees
Hmm.
in, the way, uh, like a coconut tree, uh, and a mango tree will always, a coconut tree grows up to be a coconut tree, and a mango tree grows up to be a mango tree.
Hmm.
It's not some random shit that is happening, where,
Correct.
uh, suddenly something merges and some crap happens and some coconut and some mango, and it's not like that. It's There is an order to things. If you look at nature, the way things are, then you look at the birds that, migrate, and there's a whole lot of things. If you actually look into nature, you start seeing, like, how are these things happening.
Hmm.
So, like, like when we when we're caught up in our lives in cities and things like that, we are so caught up in this concrete world where almost everything is made by man. So
Hmm.
we get caught up in the whole thing that we are the guys who are making these things. Yeah, there are a lot of things that have been made by man. Where are these ideas coming from? Now, if you look at it, like, for instance, when you write your own songs.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so yeah, so you know how it is. Where do those ideas come from? It's no, you know for a fact that it's not you. If you start thinking and trying to make a song, you'll never be able to make a song which comes to you naturally. Am I
Hmm.
right or wrong?
Yeah. So when I produce, I think like when I produce, but yes,
No, no,
when
no, no.
yes,
See, the embellishments is a different thing.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
but yeah, it is
I'm
a
talking
very
about
small
the core
creation.
idea. The
Correct.
core idea, the you never know where it comes from.
It just comes.
So yeah, so, like, so if you get into all that now, that's when, uh, you realize, like, who you think you are is just a very, very minute part of who you are, who you really are. You're much more
Hmm.
than just the 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 thoughts in your mind. And that is just thoughts. I mean, like, it's just thoughts. There is a thought called that you think you are,
Hmm.
who is thinking other thoughts.
Yes, yes. There is, in Zen, there's a saying, the observer, you are not your own mind. You're not your mind. So there's the
Right.
mind, then there's you. You're the observer who is observing the mind, and there's this presence. You are the presence, kind of. That's
And
how.
that you can actually feel it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not so difficult uh,
Hmm.
to know that part of you.
Hmm.
If you, like, for instance, I'm wearing these headphones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm hearing your voice inside, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm also hearing, if I'm thinking, like, if I was keeping quiet and I was thinking, I'm
Hmm.
hearing thoughts also,
Yeah.
right? So, who's hearing? It's not a thought hearing a thought.
Hmm.
There is here. So when you notice that, you can notice that empty. uh, nothingness that it is which is there inside.
Hmm.
I mean, inside is again, uh, but you can actually feel it. I mean, you can feel that. It takes a little bit of observation,
Yeah.
but it's observable. I mean, it can be felt. But the thing is, if you're stuck in your mind, it's very difficult to see that. You know, if if you so identified with the thought part of
Thoughts.
you, then it's impossible. Then all this whole talk will sound like bullshit to people. You know,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
are, yeah.
But folks who do a anyway do a bit of meditation will obviously be able to understand that, not getting stuck in your thoughts, not getting into that pattern, and just to understand this. So yeah, that was very interesting, Suraj. I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned, when you were we were discussing, you mentioned about the mango tree and the coconut tree, and you're living in Goa, and this is
Right.
a question I'm asking. Is the decision to be,
Hmm.
as I said in the beginning, a lot of cool people live in Goa. Most of the cool people I know stay there. But for you, I have a feeling that, is it because you like to be close to nature somehow? Is this also something which is there?
Absolutely. The thing is, like, see, like, I really don't know what is being cool and cool
Hmm.
people. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm not just saying this. I am literally ignorant about this whole coolness factor.
Okay.
So, so I uh, and I don't even know about the trend setting. Also, I've never really bothered about these things. I've never
Hmm.
followed fashion. I've never done any of those things. So for me, coming to Goa was the only reason where the first time I drove down here and I saw the place, it reminded me of Kerala, and that was it. I mean, for me, I couldn't afford to move in here at that time, but uh, when I could, uh, we just got into the car and drove down. I mean, and never thought of going back. So um, for me, that it's a childhood thing. Like, like I used to, whenever I used to go for vacations back home, I used to go to the fields. I used to ride my cycle all over the place, and
Hmm.
run in the fields and climb trees. And that was those are the parts of my childhood I used to really enjoy. And
Hmm.
then again, back to Bombay. And I was never a city guy. I mean, like I I adjusted to being in a city, but
Hmm.
it was not my thing at all. And I don't really like being in crowded places. Also, that's another thing. I don't mind being
Hmm.
on stage, but I don't really like being off stage. So
Hmm.
in a crowded place. So like most of my shows, as soon as the show's over, I just get out. Like the car is parked behind, and I'm out of there.
Yeah.
So it's got nothing to do with that. Like I'd love to meet people and all that, but it's crowds kind of for me
Yeah.
not really comfortable.
Yeah. So when I mention cool, it's not about, the typical. Let me rephrase that. Let me kind of put it in a better way. All the people I'm interested in, to be very honest, all the people,
Hmm.
interesting people.
No, 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 I understand. I understand that,
Exactly.
but no, no, I understand that. But all I was saying is that, like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but like that was not the reason for me to come here. I mean, like, even if
Ah,
all the cool people tomorrow move to some other place,
okay.
like if I don't like that place, I won't go there. Even if it's like
Makes sense.
all the cool people have gone there. So that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, I would want to, know a bit of, you're a singer songwriter. The singer part, a lot of folks know. Obviously, you're famous for that. I want to talk about songwriting and your
Hmm.
writing process. So, like, just walk me through it. If you said it comes spontaneously, that's one thing we have noted down, that it comes spontaneously to you when you write. Do you have a specific way? Like, first of all, I wanted to know. are you writing something right now? What kind of stuff you are writing, if you can divulge? You said you're doing a project which you cannot divulge. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying that, what are you writing? What you consciously take out time to kind of write songs, or and where, how did it start? So you said, you were part of that band, you were part of there, and you were performing with them. But how did the songwriter part of Suraj Jagan come in? Where did you start writing?
So I started, in fact, that first band that I sang for. I was uh, I was already writing my own lyrics at that time.
Okay.
So this I'm talking about. This was, I think it was 86, 87 or something. This That was the time when this. Those days, uh, none of the bands did originals. I mean, like, we couldn't. I mean, you go on stage and even mention that you're going to do one of your own songs, and you'd get bottles on stage. That was how it was in those days. It was
Okay.
very different. I mean, like, people just didn't want to hear you. Forget about hearing the song and throwing bottles. That I can understand if you don't like the song.
Mhm.
This, you just mentioned that, like, now we're going to play one of our own songs. There all the fingers will come up, and things will be thrown on stage, and all those kind of things used to happen. So bands never wrote their own songs. I mean, at least when I started out. And uh, so when I wrote lyrics and took it to the band, they just they just smirked, and uh, they thought I was, this young kid trying to, because those guys are all professional guys. They were all session musicians. The
Mhm.
band
Mhm.
that I got to sing for. So they just looked at me like as if it was a joke, like as if I was a joke, bringing them this song. So, like,
Mhm.
it didn't really go anywhere. But then once I formed my own band, Crisis, uh, uh, there we used to go and perform in spite of all the madness that used to be there. We still performed uh, majorly covers, but
Mhm.
a few originals. So we did that during that time also. So that's a different thing. My writing with a band is a different thing for me. And when I'm on my own, I cannot write a rock song. For some reason, I just can't, because the way I write, it's all mellow stuff that happens. When I
Mhm.
sit with a guitar, I know a few chords, and I sit with that, and I just all the melodies that come out. I had released this album called Ye Lamha, uh, and you can hear my songwriting in that album. I mean, the softer stuff. There's a few songs that I've done with Chandresh, but the softer
Mhm.
stuff you can actually hear. Uh, that's those are my compositions.
Okay.
So yeah.
So, do you like majorly write in English or Hindi? You write in both, right? So,
No, no.
then
I think in English I can only write in English. Lyrics, I have to get, if I have to write a Hindi song, I have to get somebody to write lyrics. Uh,
okay.
it doesn't come naturally for me. I mean, I've been brought up, you know, thinking in English. So that's it's an unfortunate thing. I wish I could write in Hindi, but it doesn't happen. I've tried. I've actually done one song for Luke Kenny.
Mhm. Mhm.
Luke Kenny's movie. I actually wrote lyrics. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, it was a song that I'd done it in English, and I wrote the song in Hindi also. That was my, I think, first and last time, I guess. I don't
Oh.
think. Yeah, English I can. That comes naturally, but Hindi doesn't come naturally. Any Hindi lyricist would laugh at my Hindi
Mhm.
lyrics for sure.
Well, there are a lot of lyricists. Let's not get in down that path. Okay, there's a lot of good lyricists, and there are, well, lyricists. Let's not get into
Yeah,
that. I will, specifically, I wanted to ask you, you have these videos, on your YouTube, where you have awake, and you also have opinions and AA,
yeah,
whatever. Not mentioning that, and I found the lyrics very, you're saying, where when the blind leads the blind, in the
yeah,
awake. So
yeah.
I feel that obviously, who were your major influences when you kind of started listening, or songwriting influences? Who were your, let's kind of put it that way, songwriter or yeah, singer songwriter influences?
I never really thought of it like that.
Hmm.
It's just that like when I when I was a kid, that the I started singing because my uncles were in London and they used to get these cassettes down,
Hmm.
and when they used to come down, and that's how I started listening to English music, and uh, and my first influence was Elton John, because I liked his singing, his songwriting, and then it went on to uh, the Beatles, a lot of British musicians, and uh, who else, man? So these are my initial before I actually heard any real hard rock stuff. It was
Hmm.
all Bee Gees. Bee Gees was another
Okay.
band that I really liked, and sorry, uh, Neil Diamond.
Hmm.
Um, from the American side was Neil Diamond, Barbara Streisand, um,
Oh.
and yeah, I mean I still love her voice. I mean it's like every time I hear her voice, it's just amazing, man. I mean I just want to sing like that,
Hmm.
So uh, so there are I mean those are the kind of artists that I grew up with. Then uh, all the other guys like Prince and all came much later.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, and then the rock side of it, there was like a whole lot of them. And, uh, Deep Purple, I think, was one of my first ones. Scorpions, and then
Hmm.
all those bands. So I've never really thought of it that way, like singer songwriter wise. But so when I sit to write, uh, uh, I am playing with my own limitations. So uh, because of the limited chords that I know, I'm playing around with that,
Hmm.
and whatever melody comes, uh, you know, like because I normally write lyrics first, and then you know, when I feel like it, I'll pick up the guitar and I'll just sing along, and that's how those songs have. Like Awake was written in 5 minutes. In fact, like I just got that idea. I
Hmm.
got the chords. It didn't even take like 5 minutes to do that entire song. So that also happens. Sometimes I get an idea and
Right.
I'll be working on it, and there are songs that I'm still not completed. It's been like years. There's this one song that I've been stuck with. Like I've got a nice thing going on the guitar, but
Hmm.
I'm not being able to finish the lyrics. The lyrics are not fitting in properly. It's not timing meter wise and all that, but it's just
Hmm.
that the theme of what I'm trying to say is just not fitting in with what I'm playing. So those things also happen. So yeah, I mean like singer songwriter influence wise, I can't really put my finger on it. It's a whole lot of people.
Whole lot of.
Like yeah, yeah. Through the years, I mean, like it's been a long time, man. I've been doing this. So
Yeah.
I've been listening for a long time at least. Yeah.
Right, right. And I will just say, I'm not obviously mentioning your age. We have a 20-year age difference, you and me. And I was
Yeah.
thinking so much wisdom, and I'm my whole idea about this interview is that, I want to get a lot of wisdom from this. I get carried away when I do interviews. That's the reason my previous interview was also kind of going. So my idea of this was, जितना ले सकता हूँ मैं लूंगा. ठीक है, I want to
Uh,
take a lot of wisdom from you, because obviously, when I was in MTV at that point of time, even before that, you have been a huge influence, and you don't know it, and I'm not exaggerating it, and I'm not saying this because you're here. It's actually the folks who were, I've actually sung your songs on my shows when I was kind of
Acha.
doing live gigs. Yeah, I don't do live gigs. I work as a producer right now, and obviously I've got my corporate job. That is what I do. But at that point of time, when I was actively, just doing that point of time it was a no brainer, kind of
Mm.
shows. Okay, fine, Suraj Jagan kya ga raha hai, okay, let's see. And that's how, we kind of so huge influence. That's the reason, my next question would be that you write, you're a singer songwriter, uh, you read, I'm sure. Do you read books? If you read, what kind of books do you read? Like, who are the authors, or what are your favorite, say, 3 4 books, if you could kind of
Uh,
enumerate? Hmm.
I read. I don't really read novels. I must have
Hmm.
read a couple of them, like by John Grisham, way back.
Okay. Okay.
Way back. I mean, but I stopped reading. I mean, I never really read novels anyway. But
Hmm.
John Grisham was recommended by my wife, so I
Okay.
read a few of those, and I think I've read some Tom Clancy also. But
Hmm.
I'm not really into reading novels. I mean, I've not read a novel in ages now. If I read something, it would be something to do with. Uh, so there is this author called what's his name? Tom Robbins. Tim Robbins is the actor, right? Which is the act? Tom Robbins or Tim Robbins is the actor? Tim
uh
Robbins is the actor.
Most probably, you're
The
talking about
actor who's married to
mhm.
Susan Sarandon's husband is.
Let me
Uh,
check.
I forgot whether it's. Yeah. Anyway, this guy
uh,
is called, I think, Tim Robbins. I think.
okay.
Uh,
Tim
so
Robbins
his
is the
books.
American
There's
actor.
this book called.
Yeah, tell me, sorry.
So I think it's Tom Robbins who's the author.
Okay.
So there was this book called Jitterbug Perfume, and the cowgirls get the blues or something. There was another book. Those kind of books. Then there was that what's that Seagull, Jonathan Seagull.
Hmm.
Uh, those kind of books. Uh, there's a lot of things that you can learn, life lessons from these kind of books. Uh, so that's what I like to. I mean, if I've I haven't been reading a lot. It's been a while since I've actually read anything. Like I've
Okay.
been mostly into meditating and stuff like that rather than um, reading stuff. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so good thing you
I
mentioned
used to read a lot at one point.
okay. Okay, you
Yeah,
mentioned
but not
meditation.
anymore.
Right, you
Mm.
mentioned meditation. What form of meditation do you follow? Like, I personally do vipassana, I follow zen. What kind of you have a specific form of meditation that you follow, or like?
No, not really. I mean, it's just I it's it's just basically observing yourself. I mean, it's just what's happening within, and
Hmm.
that's about it. And sometimes it just gets deep, and uh, I meditate. I also meditate with my eyes open. So uh, I've had an experience which was quite a freaky experience where uh, the so-called eye disappeared for a while. So not a while, it was a few seconds. So
Sorry,
it
did
was
not
quite
get you. If what disappeared?
the I who I think I am didn't exist
Okay.
for a bit. Yeah. So that was quite a beautiful and freaky experience, and I got so excited that I wanted to tell Sharmila, and I just got back. So it was a kind of a thing that happened where uh, it was like uh, everything. I mean, uh, I had my eyes open, and it was everything. Uh, and I wasn't there. I mean, it's weird, man. So
Okay.
like people think I'm nuts, man, but it's okay. But that's what happened. I mean, it was just a kind of a glimpse kind of thing, and
Hmm.
later on I got to know that's what they call satori, and
Satori,
uh,
right?
yeah, yeah, that's what had happened to me.
Sun.
Just a glimpse.
A
And I've also
sudden.
known,
Mhm.
like I got to know much later is that never chase that, which is the biggest mistake. Even I did that for a while, trying to get that back. So,
Mhm.
so then I heard a lot of these people, like spiritual masters saying that that never chase that, never try to get that back because that's a bigger mistake you can do. So then I just
Mhm.
left it. I never got that back again. That just happened once. It's right here in this house. It happened.
Oh man, great.
Yeah.
So Satori is obviously, like uh the experience that happens now, you obviously remember that experience, right? So like rather than chasing it, if you just like take your mind back to what you felt, I think like relive that point of time, I think that would also work. But yeah, chasing it
I've
this
tried a
is
lot of things, but it never happened again. Never happened again.
okay, okay. So all the best. I'm sure it will happen. It will happen when you stop trying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the more you
yeah,
chase, it's never going to come. But the when
yeah.
you stop chasing the thing, it will appear. Like it seems a bit philosophical, but
But
it
that's
will.
that's that's. I think life is like that. I mean, the more you
Yeah.
chase something, it runs away from you, and the
Right.
more still you become, things start gravitating towards you. And that's I've learned this the hard way. I mean, like and
Hmm.
I'm still learning this. This very thing that I'm talking about is it's still relevant in my life where there are things where I'm chasing and where I'm trying to get things
Hmm.
done, and there are other things which are just happening without even me. Like I am taking action towards like this project that I'm talking about. It is just
Hmm.
flowing. It is just happening. Whereas there are so many other things where I've like tried that getting things together and like making that basically chasing something.
Hmm.
Wherever I've tried to chase something, Dream Out Loud is another example. We did everything for that band,
Hmm.
including making videos with like we put in our money, we put in our effort, like really worked on uh,
Hmm.
those songs, and whenever we had time, Chandresh and I used to stay quite close by, so like whenever he had time, he would call up, and whenever I had time, like in that whole Bombay Madness, we did that, we did that whole album. But as a band, it didn't really go where I would have liked that band to go. I would have really
Hmm.
loved that band to play festivals and things like that. But we just ended
Hmm.
up playing some a few hard rocks and some
Hmm.
places like that, which was not my thing. I wanted it to, and the thing was, we were drawing crowds, but for some reason, it just didn't take off beyond a certain point. So,
Hmm.
so that's the thing. I mean, we're like it was something I was chasing.
Hmm.
That was something which I had. I had that thing. I want this thing to be like this. I want this thing to be like that. So in my life, I'm not saying this is a life lesson for everyone, but
Hmm.
in my life, I mean, it's different for everybody. Like it's all depends on how you're wired, and
Correct.
so there's a whole lot of things like where you come from and all that, and so what is applicable to me might not be applicable to somebody else's life. So just
Hmm.
because I'm saying this, that it doesn't mean that that's how it works for everyone. But for me, this has been my experience, and I've kept on learning it by falling down and again getting up and again realizing, man, I shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done that. But at that point in time, I've come to a point in life where this have to do is something which I have to give up. There's no have to do. Like if I want to do it, I will do it, and let's see where it goes from now on. That kind of a thing. That's where I am right now. I don't know where it'll go. My whole thing has been like that. My whole journey has been like that. I really don't know, what's going to happen next. So no
Okay.
safety net.
No
So
safety net.
yeah,
Okay. You
just
just,
go for it.
you just diffused my next question because I was going to ask you that, do you have any routines? Are you a disciplined person? You just said that, no safety net. But I'll still ask, do you think you are a disciplined person? Do you follow any routine?
Disciplined in the sense, in uh, see, my routine is mostly now. I've got 4 dogs,
I
So,
also have. What dogs
pardon?
you have? I also have four dogs.
Okay. So, uh, three of them have been adopted. So,
Okay.
got two labs and two Shih Tzus. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So my day begins like that. I mean, wake up and the first thing is taking them for walks, and I have to
Hmm.
take the Shih Tzus separately and the labs separately. So there
Okay.
are two walks that happen like that, and then I come back, and then I'm like, that's when I get time to meditate and stuff like that. I can't do that straight away in the morning, which I would love to. I do
Hmm.
that if I wake up really early before the dogs wake up. Then I get to meditate a bit, and after that is whatever happens. Like, once that's done with, um, then I either I'm writing some lyrics, or
Hmm.
or if I have a recording, I'll go and do that, or if I have to go for practice, all those kind of things. So those things are like, uh, it's I can't really say that it's a fixed thing every day. So uh,
Hmm.
because recordings don't happen every day, and band
Hmm.
practice is not every day. So those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, like, my discipline is mostly to do with my own, uh, how I discipline my mind more than anything else. So that's where the discipline part of things come in. So I try to, not get into that negative space and all those kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I will say this, that I when I had announced that you'll be coming on the show, I had mentioned, in the social, a
Mm.
thing that is the GOAT. I'm sure greatest of all time.
Oh
That
my
is
God.
how we refer you from our end, Suraj Jagan. So my question to the GOAT would be, do you have a failure, or how has a failure or apparent failure set you up for a later
Mm.
success? And do you have any favorite failures? Does the goat has any favorite failure? Let me ask you that.
Favorite failure.
Hmm.
Um, Never really thought about it that way. Favorite failure. Uh,
Like something which you failed in later, which actually was kind of led to something big, or something successful, if there was something in your life that has happened, professionally, personally, whatever.
mm, no, nothing really comes to mind, because I mean, it's not that like things have always been smooth or anything like that. But
Hmm.
like, I can't think of a failure that turned out to be a good thing in hindsight. I mean, like,
Hmm.
uh, I'll have to think about this. As of right now, I can't remember anything which has been like a failure. I mean, the very fact that I have to think about it, I don't think it has made any kind of impact in that sense for me.
Hmm. Okay.
Because otherwise I would have remembered it right away. Because I'm not really being able to think about anything. Disappointments, many disappointments for sure. But
Hmm.
a failure that I, like, on hindsight, turned out to be a good thing, I can't really put a finger on it. I'm sure there must have been things, but not
Hmm.
as significant as, something that, it hit me so hard. Because I don't really hold that much baggage that happened
Hmm.
in my childhood, and once I got into that whole spiritual space, all that went off,
Hmm.
and then I stopped carrying any kind of baggage from lugging the past. um, so I stopped doing that many years ago, so things happen, and you feel down for a bit and whatever, and then you
Hmm.
just say, hey man, now what's the next thing, and go do that, so that's how it's been. But I wasn't always like that. I was always like, I used to feel, for years I used to feel, down about things and all that. But that's mostly in my childhood and early years of my singing career, probably, but not anymore.
Okay.
I mean, growing up, living for so long, some advantages have to be there, no? So, with the experience.
Right, right. So, in the last 5 years, Suraj, do you have any new belief or any habit which has improved your life? If you can share any new belief or any kind of stuff that you've been doing, which has in the last 5 years of your life, something new you have incorporated in your life which has helped you.
See, this is another thing because it's like, it's like a day to day. It's like one drop at a time. Filling the
Hmm.
bucket kind of situation
Hmm.
in my
Hmm.
case. So there are a lot of things like which have changed for me,
Hmm.
which I can only notice that when things are happening. Like for
Okay.
instance, doing this interview itself. If you look at my interviews from way back, I was
Hmm.
very awkward when it came to interviews. I mean that I kind of figured out why that was only recently because
Hmm.
uh, it goes back to school days when the teacher used to ask me a question, I used to just go blank. So that carried on. When people used to interview me, you know,
Hmm.
the moment a question is being asked, like the tendency was the mind to go blank, and then you got to think about things and make assumptions, and that
Hmm.
now this is one thing that I'm talking about, uh, which is now I'm like being able to have a conversation, so called, like it was.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of things when I notice myself. I've become very easy with people after coming
Hmm.
to Goa, especially. I mean,
Hmm.
I was not always like that. So and these are things which I have been working on myself,
Hmm.
not particularly to be a social person or anything like that. Not that those have been the side effects of what I have been working on internally. You know,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
and that's why I notice them when it's happening. Like
Hmm.
because I've not really thought about those aspects.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? I mean, like I hope I'm being clear
Right.
because
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
So so if you ask me in the last 5 years what's happened, I can't really pinpoint this. I can only see the effects of everything that I've been doing, bearing fruit in a nice positive way. I have also, I think, that self acceptance has played a big part. You know, completely accepting myself, which was one of the themes that I was talking about in that TED talk.
Hmm. Okay, fair enough.
That's your
So,
dog.
yeah.
I heard something.
Okay. No, that is my, yes, that's my dog. I've got like two dogs right now
Uh,
here. Like I've got two German Shepherds, two Dobermans. So my GSDs are here and
oh,
my Dobermans are in the downstairs. With my mother. So that is the thing.
okay.
Yeah. So these guys generally don't make any noise because I've been, this is my 40th episode. So they have been even part
Uh,
where in my studio folks have come and recorded and they were like, Pele they would make some noise, but later they are okay, chilled out, and right now they're sleeping.
nice.
Sometimes they are kind of wanting to go out. And I was seeing your video also where I saw I think your dog was there. I think, do you have a black lab by any chance? Or
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so that
I
was
have a
the dog
black
in,
lab and a.
yeah.
Uh, which video did that one? Ah,
That
must have been.
was
Yeah, 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 yeah. That.
that was I think that was the video of opinions. I think opinions ka video mein tha.
Right,
Most
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
opinions ka
yeah,
video
yeah.
mein tha.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She was there, I think, in that video. Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing. So I wanted to. I thought that okay, I'll ask him. Let me see. So Suraj, I will. We talked about your philosophy, your writing, your journey. Now let's come to the music a bit. Okay, so I'm
Hmm.
opening on my iPad here. I've got the This is Suraj Jagan. Okay, let me do one thing. Let's see. Suraj, just give me a quick moment. Okay. I will Spotify. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Let me do
Hmm.
this, and I'll bring it to the interview itself. So, give me a moment. I'm just arranging the technicalities here quickly. Okay. Let me share my screen. Present करता हूँ. Uh, hmm. So yeah, you're able to see my screen, Suraj. Is
Yeah.
it visible? So I'm on the Spotify page, and this is Suraj Jagan. So let me open this. Obviously, I'm not going to play the list. Uh, so this is how the list looks of the
Hmm.
kind of playbacks that you've done, like Dil Dhadakne Do, Satka, Give Me Some Sunshine, and it's like all hits. Rams, Judge Trail, Zehreeley. I did not, I forgot. You remember you have worked on this one song, Is Duniya Se Ladna Hai? Yeah, ये जो है ये गाना, this was one of my first assignments, and I like corrected the drums on that, drums and जो dhols and all these things were going on the behind. So I have heard this multiple times. Then so this is how it looks, man. This is crazy. This is how the Spotify of this is Suraj Jagan looks. So Suraj, yeah, we know the backstory of how you kind of got into playback. uh Wanted to ask you, first of all, what is your favorite playback song that I know you will there you have all your songs, you as you have mentioned in previous interviews and your TED also, that you just sing for it. But if I ask you, if you want to answer, fair enough. If you don't, that too, maybe favorite song or favorite songs that you have, which you have played back in.
My favorite playback song is Sadka Kiya by
Okay.
uh, this thing,
Vishal.
Vishal Shekhar's. Yeah,
I hate love so.
it's yeah. That has been my. I love that melody, and it's a beautiful song. And after that, I I think almost every song that I've sung for Shankar Sanboy.
Hmm.
Uh, and Give Me Some Sunshine, of course. Uh, and Yeah, man. I mean, that's. But if you ask me the favorite, yeah, that's Sadka Kiya.
Okay. Okay. Any specific reason?
I just love that melody, man. I mean,
Melody.
it's a yeah, it's a beautiful melody. And before that, I used to love Khuda Jane, uh, which was sung by KK. Uh,
Mhm.
and Yeah, I mean, Vishal had called me to sing that song after KK had already sung it. Uh, and Because the director wanted to try me out, but they had actually shot the song with KK's voice and all that, and so finally they went back to KK's thing. But I had recorded that song uh, just to, I mean, they just wanted to try and see how it sounds, and they did. Liked my singing and everything, and that was another song which I really liked. So I felt I normally don't really feel anything about singing for films in that sense. I'm
Mhm.
not really attached to uh, the outcome or anything like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
But in this case, for Khuda Jane, again, I loved that song. I loved that melody, and
Mhm.
I was hoping that my voice would get approved, but it kind of did get approved, but they still went with KK's voice. So I kind of felt that I missed out on that, and then they gave me this Sadka Kiya, which is kind
Mhm.
of in that same zone. I mean,
Mhm.
uh, Khuda Jaane, I feel is still a better song, but
Hmm.
at least I got to sing Sadka Kiya, which is again a beautiful uh, melody.
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
sucker
Okay.
for melodies, man. I mean,
you,
yeah,
you have both sides though, but because you are the person who have sung Zehreeley, how and like crazy and like it's just crazy, like kind of the only other person I can think who has also been on the show is Bonnie Chakraborty. He has done Emotional Attachar, so Bonnie da
right,
was
right,
in the show. So the only other person I can think who does playback in this Bombay industry, Siddharth Basrur is there. That
right.
is one other vocalist who can pull these kind of stuff up. But Zehreeley, you love melody, but you have done Zehreeley. And
Right.
so that's the thing. So this huge spectrum, this huge spectrum of music, of songs that kind of you have is crazy. And recently also I have got the list. Okay, I also wanted to ask you this, that you have sung in Bengali for Ajit
Right.
Gang, and
Yeah.
your pronunciation is I'll say 95% to the point. How did that
Okay.
happen? Do you know Bengali, or
Not at
did
all.
anyone help you? How did that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah, yeah.
You got help,
I
right?
Yeah, of course,
From
of course. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm singing. So
yeah.
I've done a lot of languages. I mean, like I'm
Hmm.
good at mimicking. So
Hmm.
if there's a supervisor over there,
Okay.
and so uh, uh, when I used to do jingles also,
Uh-huh.
so many of the jingles are done in many languages. So there
Hmm.
was I remember doing some jingle for like I think 14 languages I had to sing in. So
Hmm.
there are languages which I didn't even know existed in India, which so I was singing those languages also like
Hmm.
Dogri and Kashmiri and so I've done a whole lot of languages. Um, so yeah, I mean, like if there's the credit goes to the supervisor. I mean, it's got nothing to do with me. I mean, like I just have to follow what the supervisor tells me to do. So if he wants to con me, he can because I won't know anything. So if he so all the
Okay.
credit goes to the supervisor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it was crazy. I was like listening to it. I was like, wow, how this kind of goes. I wanted to ask you regarding this one song that is Chudail, obviously Ram's song that you had.
mm.
How did that happen, and how was the experience of working with Ram? I wanted to ask you.
Ram. It was great fun because we recorded that song in his studio, and
Hmm.
it was just him, me, and the sound engineer. There was nobody else,
Okay.
and we were having a laugh doing that song. So and he let me do a lot of things which was completely spontaneous. It was not really planned. Like I've sung this that Guns N' Roses type of line. I've done. Uh, uh, what is it? So, you know what you are, or something like that. Yeah, that
Hmm.
it's like a one of the Welcome to the Jungle kind of lines I've done in the song
Hmm.
in Chudail. So those are things that just happened in the studio, and we were laughing while we were doing that song. And I didn't even know because the song was recorded 2 years before the movie was released.
Hmm.
So once we did the song, I never thought that song would ever even make it to the movie. Because it was so bizarre. So that kind of a song, and yeah, that it was a great experience. And Ram, I know Ram from way back, so it was
Okay.
fun. Yeah,
That's just
like
this.
Ram and Vishal and all these guys.
Ah.
It's great fun to the whole experience when you go there. It's
Hmm.
and Ram is a damn funny guy, man. I mean, like like, he can crack you up, So so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's always fun to work with these guys.
So you did it in the homegrown in our car
Right,
studio.
right,
You
right.
were,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
engineer was
No,
Yashwant.
no, 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 not that studio, not that big studio. This was
Okay.
in. He had a smaller studio. I think we had
Okay.
recorded it over there, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember now. It,
Okay.
We used to. He had another studio, na, in Bandra or Car somewhere.
Then around his place might be there, but Khar is the
No, no.
biggest studio, homegrown. That is the studio that is there.
Yeah, he had another place somewhere in Car only, I think. It was. Anyway,
The engineer was the fat guy or the the s- what should I say, slim guy. You know, remember the engineer's name? Who was it?
no, I can't
Rashad.
remember.
Okay, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have collaborated with Ram on this, and also is Dunia Se Lana. Any other collaborations you had done with Ram at that point of time, or any other which we don't know about? Any unreleased stuff?
I don't think films. I think I've done some jingle work with him. I'm not
Okay,
really sure whether we've done any more films. No, I don't think
okay.
so.
Okay, well, fair enough. Because that is I always wanted to know, wanted to ask you. So I got, as I said, one of my first assignments was to kind of tempo correct the it's Dunya Se Learn, and I was like curtsing Ram on my head when I was doing it because so many things that was I was coming. I came in thinking of okay, melody करना है, ये करना है, वो भाई tempo correction दे दिया. So I was like, and I heard your voice looping on that studio, and kind of it was like crazy. So yeah, and now you're I think if not your biggest hit is Give Me Some Sunshine. Obviously,
Right.
that is if I think Hutch is obviously the jingle that is there, but there obviously the people who know, they know, but specifically if we can say Give Me Some Sunshine. I know this is, you have done this multiple times, you have said the same thing to multiple people, but just for our viewers, how did the song happen, and what was the experience, and what was the experience before and after it got released, if you can enumerate a bit on that.
So the uh, what had happened was with Shantanu Moitra. I've done a few jingles with him. So so one day we were recording, and while he was walking out, he said like, "I'm going to make you sing a Hindi film song."
Hmm.
I said, "Yeah, okay." Like people say a lot of things like that. So that went off, and I think it was 2 years later he called me, and and we recorded in a studio. I think it was in a basement or something. I can't remember. But I remember seeing boxes over there, these cardboard boxes with Three Idiots written on it. So I had no, I mean, I don't really, I
Hmm.
forget to ask actually. I mean, like when I go, I'm so, for me, that whole process is like, I'm very excited when I get into a studio
Hmm. Hmm.
to be part of something which is being created. That excites me a lot. Like,
Hmm.
just to be part of something that is being created, a new creation, and especially when it's a song, it's that much more special. And it doesn't matter what kind of a song it is. That process I enjoy. So many
Okay.
times I forget what I've done by the time I'm home,
Hmm.
uh, because I enjoy the process more than very few songs remain with me because I'm driving back in the car, I'm listening to some Pantera or something like that. By the time I'm home, I've forgotten what I did. So
Hmm.
Sharmila used to ask me, "So what did you sing?" Then I have to think. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I forgot. Then who's? Then she'll ask me, who was the? What's the name of the movie? Oh, I forgot to ask. Then who's acting in it? Oh, I don't know. So it's like that for me. Yeah, almost every recording is like that. So "Give Me Some Sunshine" was a song where so he called me to sing, and we went and we recorded, and it was just another recording for me. I mean, like enjoyed singing it. Song was it was slightly different because it had an English chorus and
Hmm.
Hindi song and all that. Like so, I did that, and the only thing I remember was this Three Idiots written on the box, and I was like, it didn't strike me that was the name of the movie, and I didn't ask anyone. And once the movie came out, we were doing this. the whole press thing, which radio interviews and things like that. So three of us, Swanand, who's a lyricist, and Shantanu and me were clubbed together to do
Hmm.
these interviews, like a whole lot of interviews, radio interviews all over the place. So one of those interviews, Shantanu said that this song was written keeping Suraj in mind. Like, and if
Hmm.
the producers uh, had any issue with that, I would have changed the composition. I composed this song keeping him in mind, and I was blown when I heard that. Like nobody had ever said that, so and then another thing which happened was during the music launch. Uh, so this song was never really promoted. You know that when the before the
Hmm.
movie,
Okay.
this song, go back, and if you see it, like this was the song which was not given any kind of promotion uh,
Hmm.
before the movie. It was
Okay.
that which is that song, All Is Well, and
Hmm.
there was another song which was being pushed. The videos of those songs were being played, and everywhere those are the songs that were being promoted. And at the music launch, it was Amir Khan who said that, this song is going to connect to the youth. Uh, and he's the only one who said that. Give Me Some Sunshine
Hmm.
is going to connect with the youth. And uh, and till then, it was like, it was not a song that was without any promotion. The movie, of course, did really well, but the
Hmm.
song picked up on its own. Even before the movie,
Hmm.
it started picking up on its own. So without any promotion, that song got into connected with people. And I guess that's the reason why also it has stood the test of time. I mean, people still love that song. Like people have those other songs are like I can't remember the second song. Some Duba Duba, something like that it was called, I think. Uh, Zubi Dubi, something like that.
Ha, Ruby Dooby. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, something like that.
Hmm.
So there was another song. But if you ask people about Three Idiots, uh, they remember probably All Is Well and Give Me Some Sunshine. Like everyone remembers it. I mean, till now, lot of people still sing it at colleges and things like that. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that's a song that really connected with people. And there have been shows that I've done where suddenly my bassist will come up to me and say like, "Hey man, like there are people who have tears in their eyes and all." So that kind of stuff. Like for me, that's like mind blowing, man. I mean, I never thought that I would see that in my show. I've seen that shows happening with Michael Jackson and all, people crying and all. And not that kind of thing happens, but like people tear up when they hear the song
Hmm.
because it's got nothing to do with me. It's just the song, the composition, and the lyrics. And the lyrics played a very big role in that song. So which is what really connected with the people. The lyrics and probably the way I sang it came through. I made
Absolutely.
justice to the lyrics of the song. Like Sari Umra Mar Mar Ke Ji Rahi Hai and all that. That I think it connected big time with people. Oh, light almost fell.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, it's connected with the people, and it was like crazy. It was like listening. See, I'm not a huge Bollywood guy or anything. Like I now appreciate the craft. The
Hmm.
musicians, the craft behind it. But yeah, some songs stick, and those were
Yeah,
the. This was one of those songs that kind of stuck with us, and I'm sure that very very significant for not only your journey, for a lot of other people also. It was very significant, so like that's very beautiful. So like kudos to you for kind of gifting us such a wonderful song from your end. And
you have to thank
Suraj,
Shantanu for that.
obviously, but Shantanu didn't sing it. Shantanu
Yeah,
could just do the music, so you had to have the voice, right? So at the
right,
end of the day, obviously, compose. It's a teamwork. It's a teamwork,
right.
but where in a background score maybe the music composer is the captain, but in a song the captain always at the end of the day is the singers. It is how in India, at least, other countries it might be a bit different, but in India it's a singer led army kind of going on when it's a song's going.
Right.
And that's where you pulled it off, you took it, and it's a huge hit, obviously. So thanks for again kind of giving us that. So Suraj, we are almost 1 hour 35 minutes in the interview. I'm almost done. I've just got two more questions for you. I know this is a Saturday evening. I've taken out a lot of your time, so thanks for that. I'll ask you, first of all, my second last question, that is, uh, where is your music direction or your direction as an artist? Where are you going now towards? Which direction are you moving towards? Obviously you said you're working on a project which you cannot divulge, but some maybe some hint or something like that, where we can say some years from now, where we will kind of see where is the artist. It might be musical or whatever, where are we going to see Suraj, how is this things are moving?
As far as I can see it, uh, I don't think that the rock part of it is going to go from me. So uh, because especially when I'm working with somebody else, it always happens where it it turns out to be rock based. So from that point of view, I don't think that that is going to change that much.
Mm-hmm.
Thing that might be different would be the way I write. I mean, because of uh, just life experience and things that have happened, and the content might change, which it has, and depending on what I'm observing and all those kind of things. So that's the only probably new thing, new direction. I mean, I can't really new direction as such. And especially now, the way of living life, I just take it like, uh, uh, inspiration happens and I just do it. I don't have, like, I'm basically trying to practice detachment as much as possible.
Okay.
Because that's been my weakness. I've realized when I get too attached to things, and that's when that whole chasing thing happens, and it just so that I'm kind of like there right now, trying to that, like so
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. And
that's
final.
happens
Mhm.
externally also. So yeah, no,
Okay, your
go ahead.
voice was cutting off a bit. Sometimes your voice was cutting off, but I got the message. I'll ask my final
It's happening
question.
with yours also.
Then it's the internet most of it, but I can see on my end. It's let me see. You're able to hear me properly?
Yeah, yeah. No, but
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
happening even in the beginning also, but so I didn't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
No issues. I would come to the end of the show. My final question to you would be, uh, if you had a message to give to anyone watching the show, or if you could want to spread a message to your fans, to your music lovers and everyone through this show, what would be the message that you want to share before kind of winding things up for this episode?
The only thing that comes to mind right now is live your own life. Don't try to live somebody else's life. It's all that. I mean, that's coming to my mind. There's too much pressure on people, their own. So, I mean, am I cutting off? So frozen now, huh?
Yeah, it's frozen. Suresh, can you just try to join back this link once? Can you do that? Can we do that just for this last question? I
Go
think.
ahead.
Will you be able to do it? Completely getting freezed
Again, it's
on this
going, man.
one.
What's happening? Yeah. Now, is it fine now?
Yeah, it's fine. Let's kind of try to take that once again. Just you can answer the last question. Could you please do that once again because
Yeah.
it was
The
cutting
only
off.
thing that comes to my mind, is just live your own life. Don't try to live somebody else's life because of especially nowadays with social media and things like that. Like everyone's, I mean, not everyone, but like there's this whole lot of people who are constantly thinking that someone else is living a better life than me, and let me try and live a life like that, and all that. It's all. I mean, it's not necessarily going to get you to live the life that you're seeing somebody else live. You got to see what you want to live. I mean, rather than trying to live somebody else's life. Everybody's unique and everybody has their own path. This is getting a little too deep, I think.
No, that's absolutely a great kind of message from your end. So yeah, finally, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Suraj, for taking out the time and giving us so much of your time and giving us so much of wisdom and letting us be part of your journey, sharing your experiences. It was wonderful having you, and I cannot stress enough how much this meant for me personally, and obviously to our listeners. So thank you once again for coming to the show, taking out time from your busy schedule and being part of this episode. It was really wonderful to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It was nice talking to you,
Thanks.
man.
It was nice talking to you too. Thanks a lot. Okay, bye bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
I'm ending the
See you.
recording. See ya. Bye.
Yeah.